So I have a rule for my communities inside the Sober School. We don't talk about politics or religion because they're such polarizing topics, and this is not the place to get into some kind of debate about that stuff. Personally, I like to focus on what brings us together, which is finding freedom from alcohol. However, unless you've been living under some kind of rock, you will know that there is a pretty big US election happening tomorrow, if you're watching this when it comes out. And some people are going to be disappointed with the result and will want to drink afterwards. Some people will celebrate and will want to drink afterwards. You might get the result that you personally want, but you know that in a few weeks' time you're going to a family gathering with people who do not share your politics. And perhaps you're already feeling tense about it, and that in itself makes you want to drink. I think this tension and divisiveness is something we can all relate to no matter what country we live in, because these days there does seem to be such a charge to politics, whether it is those conversations at the family dinner table or people ranting in your local Facebook group. So look, this is a video about how to stay sober when you are feeling triggered by politics and other people's opinions about it all. But it is not a video about politics, so please don't post any kind of political view in the comments. But I just wanted to share my 3 tips with you today in case you are worried that you're going to drink tomorrow or in the coming weeks. So first of all, I just want you to remember that drinking alcohol will not change the outcome. I know this sounds very obvious, but it's true. The only thing that drinking alcohol will do is deliver a hangover and will hurt you. And when you combine your disappointment with a hangover, that's going to be a very painful combination. My second tip is to remember that drinking won't give you a respite from your feelings. Like, truly it won't. And I think a lot of drinkers romanticize alcohol's power in this area. I mean, I know that's what I used to do. So I used to talk about having a drink so I could switch off and forget my problems. But alcohol doesn't work like that. And you know this, because if you've ever had a really bad day and then had a load of drinks afterwards, and yet you've still felt angry and upset about your day, well, then you know it doesn't work. Right? I remember times when I did that and I was still stewing over what so-and-so did or what they said. And because I'd had a few drinks, I then thought it'd be a great idea to text that person a long ranty text message. So I share that just as an example of drinking not changing how I was feeling. It did not make my frustration or sadness or disappointment go away. And I know you've got examples like that too. Alcohol does not switch you off at the plug. Your feelings are still going to be there. My third tip is to think in advance about what you might want or need. What might you want or need in certain situations? So for example, if one particular outcome will leave you feeling worried, you might need a way to comfort and soothe yourself. Think this through now. Otherwise, you will be much more likely to turn to alcohol in the moment. The same goes for celebration. If you get the result you want, how are you going to celebrate that or mark that relief? Because culturally, our go-to for success or disappointment is have a drink. So that's why you want to plan this now so you don't struggle with it in the spur of the moment. And when I say figure out in advance what you might need or want, this also goes for that tense family dinner that you might have on the horizon. Maybe what you really want, when you really think about it, is to just have a dinner like you used to before this politics stuff got in the way. And maybe that's something that you're going to make a request of everyone and say, let's not talk about this stuff. Let's just have a good time and focus on what we do agree on. Or maybe what you need is to have some boundaries around how much time you're going to spend at this dinner, or to give yourself the ability to leave at any time. Now, talking of wants and needs, another thing to consider is, what do I want to think of me? How do I want to handle myself? Because if the worst does happen and other people just cannot resist bringing politics up at the dinner table and making some kind of snipey comment, how do I want to show up? Like, what would make you come away from that thinking, you know what, I'm proud of how I handled that. I did the best I could. I know for me, when I was drinking, even just a small amount of alcohol would change the way I heard others and how quick I was to respond and what I thought was an appropriate thing to say. And do you know what else? Often after I've been drinking, I couldn't really remember what had been said. I'd get it all distorted and blown out of proportion in my mind, because that's what alcohol does. It creates this chaos and confusion, and that is the last thing we all need right now. So let me know in the comments, does this help? And have you got any other tips for staying sober during disappointment or celebration or family tension? Because those are kind of the big three things that we are dealing with right now in terms of politics in the next few days and weeks. And also, if you've been sober for a while, but you are worried about how you're going to get through November and December because of this political stuff and the party season and Christmas coming up, I've got a training for you that I'm just putting the finishing touches on, but I think you're going to find it really helpful. It's for people who've already quit drinking. So I'll be sharing more about that very soon. And yeah, keep an eye out for it.